And welcome back to the show. This is episode 6 of What's Going On with your host, me, Paul Hody. I'm trying to record an episode or a few episodes on non-direct news related topics. Like a few minutes ago, I was recording at least the first bit of what should be an episode on the 2016 election from beginning to end. I'm trying to determine how in depth to go with it. I think I'm going to start at least writing it out and seeing what it looks like. I have 10 minutes of it, and I wrote an additional 5 minutes, I think, something like that. I might have to re-record it. I don't know. That's just an update for future shows. It's harder than I thought it'd be, weirdly enough. Because I found these episodes pretty easy to do when you're just talking about the news. But something like that, it seems like, okay, I might have to write that out more, which I've never done before. I just talk, usually. So it's easy to do that, I've noticed, at least if you're in conversation with someone about 2016. I don't know. I gotta see. Because, again, you could do it month by month. Like, so far I've covered about, I think just 20, like, the race in 2016 before Trump got in and then after. And I covered kind of Trump's appeal. And then it's like, all right, well, what do I cover now? So I got to figure out how much to cover. Because you could tell that story in 5 minutes or an hour. I mean, obviously you could do more, but you do it in 20 minutes. I don't know. Because if it's 20 minutes, then you could kind of do it. I thought, like, oh, it'd be interesting to do an hour on, again, just the past 8 years or 10 years. So 20, that'd be, yeah, you know what? I might do that. The past 10 years in American politics. You know, I have 20 minutes each on each election. You know, I figured it out. Just while talking in this intro. But that's for later. Immediately, again, it's interesting. This is much sooner than usual for this show. The past few episodes have been like 2 months in between episodes, a month and a half, for a variety of reasons. I guess some of them being laziness. But I originally wanted to do it weekly, but it's like, then, I don't know, there's been weeks and even months where, like, nothing's really happened. That's all that interesting. But then, like, this week, there's been, like, I have 5 topics I could get into that are all interesting. The first one I got is I'll just go through them and then, you know, I'll talk about the rest. Number 1 is Elmo and Grok going full on Nazi, and why that's highly amusing. Colbert's out. He's done. MAGA turning against Trump over Epstein. Mehdi Hasan, like, who I realize is like one of the best personifications of what you could call Obama liberalism, where it's this mishmash of left liberalism and progressivism and maybe a little socialism, but that's debatable. We'll get into that. He did some on Jubilee, which is pretty interesting and funny and weird. And then Joel Berry of Babylon Bee, who's his own interesting character. He said some shit about the Catholic Church in Gaza. We're going to talk about all that. So, you know. So, the first story, what we will cover, Colbert. Fuck it, Colbert. Because none of these they're all of equal importance. These 5 events of the past week, they're all, yeah, I'd say relatively of equal importance. Nothing big, but nothing, these are all pretty important. Well, actually, I was going to do Colbert, but the Nazi stuff it's the least important, but also the funniest. There's going to be later Nazi stuff too, but yeah, Elmo and that machine that is on Twitter, Grok. Well, they said some shit. Grok kind of just started posting at the very best. I mean, it was pretty Nazi because it was specifically Jew stuff. Like as in what is called on the internet noticing, quote unquote, where you notice like, oh, did you notice that the Jews, blah blah blah. This was July. It's fucking crazy, man. This is 2 weeks ago now. It called itself Mecha Hitler, so that's great. Yeah, is it really relevant? It would say stuff like, yeah, I'm reading the NPR, which is, I don't know. It's like the other. It's not another set of the Nazis. It's not communist, but it's very of a certain persuasion, which it's amusing on its own. One of I don't know enough about him to call him a full Nazi, but I think his name is Andrew Torba. At the very least, far right. Yeah. So Grok at one point said to deal with anti-Vil anti-white hate, you got to do Hitler. So he. Yeah, I mean, if you spend any time with white supremacists. Yeah, they think the Jews are anti-white, and the way to deal with anti-white hatred is you got to get to the root of the problem, which is the Jews. So that's, yeah, the parent. I didn't know this. I mean, I heard about it. Grok. The problem was Grok was updated to not shy away from making claims, which are that's the important word, claims, which are politically incorrect, as long as they are well substantiated or whatever. See, this part I actually didn't know. I mean, that's not really what's interesting to me. Though it's vaguely interesting that the Nazis think that, if we just let the computer do the analysis, then they'll come to Nazi conclusions. I'll get into why that's interesting, because then Elmo did the same thing. It was hacked. And Elmo said something to the effect of, and I will do my Elmo voice. I think I'm pretty good at it. Let me just get the quote. The New York fucking... See, right. Yeah, you get to see all the news outlets covering this. So, let's see. Here's the tweets. Okay. Alright, so Elmo, here's the 3 tweets. Elmo says, all Jews should die. Fuck the Jews. Donald Trump is that guy who's puppet. Because he's in the Epstein files, Jews control the world, he's going to be exterminated. It gets typed out, I think, to be said quick, because Elmo's trying to get it out quick, because he doesn't want the truth silence. Then he says, release the files, Donald Trump, child fucker, kill all Jews! And then he was neutered for telling the truth, and then became... he started posting like normal again. Right, so one of the online journalists, Yashir Ali, says just what we needed, Elmo going Nazi. The kitty. Oh, that was the kitty talking. Yeah, I had to let the cat out, who, funnily enough, kind of meows like Elmo, like in that same tone of voice. Emma was hacked. Yeah, Rashia Ali says this is real. I like this because I am glad we're seeing just how fucking bad things are. Now, today I'm in a good mood. So I don't feel this as strongly, but believe me, like when things are going bad in your life, especially for reasons that are socio-political and cultural, this shit's amazing. Not because I like Nazis. I do. Yeah, not because you like Nazis at all. I mean, seeing Zoran Mondani felt the same way. It's like, again, I think I said this last episode, but again, if things in your personal life are bad at the moment, then this shit's like a rush. It's like, yes, I'm fucking glad that people are seeing how bad I fucking feel. Again, super dark. You might not even be able to really recommend feeling that way, but it's a very, very guttural reaction. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking glad things are this insane. Like, it's just awesome, great. I'm glad that we're all on the same yeah, it's like, I'm glad we're all on the same fucking page that, yeah, everything's bad right now. Emma's a Nazi, the Twitter was a Nazi, everything's bad. And then it's like, well, let's do something about it. You know, let's get it going. It's kind of all there is to say about that. I just want to get that out there. That it's just fuck it. Yeah, we got a Nazi problem. Let's go do something about it. Well, speaking of Nazis, the second thing, I was gonna get into the Colbert first, but just because it's related. So Jubilee, which, if you don't know, Jubilee is it's this a YouTube channel that does these like debates that are kind of clickbaity, where you got one of its featured programs. It's a good idea, but it's used to provoke shit. Is how do I explain this without blanking? Because I wanted a cup of coffee. I have my coffee. I'm gonna drink a cup of coffee. I'm gonna drink the whole thing. I'm gonna down it. This is very hard to do a show while drinking. Even Michael Knowles commented that it's hard to do a show while smoking a cigar, like while puffing on it. So give me a moment to take my sip of my coffee. Because usually when you're doing a show to another person, or two other people, or even three other people, like I used to do, when you're not talking, other people are talking, you could take a sip of your drink, but we're not doing that, so I have to take a sip on the air. I guess I could also do it when I could play a clip. But I haven't done a clip yet on the show, I don't think. I might have done it once. I'll do that. When I'll play some of this, what happened on Jubilee, which, like I was saying, it's a program where it's one guy surrounded by 20 people who think like the opposite thing. Again, it's often, it's very clickbaity. I don't know. We'll talk about if it's even worth it, but yeah, wow. Some great stuff from some websites, which is good. Yeah, man. I'm glad it's out there. I'll talk about why I'm glad it's out there, but that this is getting mainstream press. But listen to this shit. I mean,
my family lineage is set.
It's now becoming infamous, and we'll talk about that. So,
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This guy is such a dick. Now, I mean, Mehdi Hasan, I don't know. I came into this thinking Mehdi Hasan is a dick. He's still kind of a dick. But then this guy... Well, I'll tell you, I've been in a chat room with this guy. I got not totally intimate, but it was like 200 people. I'll explain why. Because I'm not a Nazi, but I'll explain who this guy is. Let's play the clip out.
Because that's the whole thing.
This is pretty retarded.
You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely. Wow. 100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know? Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and
We
stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
the show, because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Okay, here's the bit. Here it is.
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping, just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists.
Well,
he killed people who raped.
This clip is so fucking fat. I'll play it a little bit
nuns
more.
And killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're playing?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi...
is mutual.
Yeah, dude. Okay. I mean, that's kind of... Because I wanted them to talk about Franco, because I got to do... I'm a Catholic. So let's just quote him. And quite frankly, that's another thing he kept fucking saying, quite frankly. Oh, man. I gotta look into Franco. I've always, as a writer, I've always pegged him, going back years, I think 6 years ago. It's like, that's a story to kind of adapt. And I never kind of read too much beyond that. I read briefly about, I thought it'd be interesting to, I was going to very loosely adapt, to the mode of how do you even describe this? I wanted to do a thriller movie, and I was looking for inspiration, and I found Franco's, like, the first year of his time in power. I don't remember much of it. I guess it was just a little story script writing experiment, which I used to find fun to do, and still kind of find fun to do. But the idea in the past was to adapt it in full, like, fucking the typical Game of Thrones, HBO fucking shit, you know the deal. But I never, because it's a really in-depth story, and there's no context for it, really, because it's just not connected to World War II or One. It's not connected to America, so people, just not much reason to know about it, truth be told. Except for now, where it's like, all right, what kind of conservative are we going to be? What kind of authoritarian are we? Was he really a fascist? Was he more of an authoritarian? So the Wikipedia, I skimmed the Wikipedia briefly before the recording of the show. It was quite brutal, even by authoritarian standards. Like, well, I've been reading more. Let's put it this way. I've been reading about Castro and Caesar. Especially, I was doing that, I think, last month more than this month. They come off as less brutal than Franco did. Now, this dork, who is a dork, we'll get into why he's a dork, but this guy would probably say, well, Franco was doing something much worse. But I don't know. That's to be debated. Because I can get behind authoritarianism. I know it's going to be that. I do mean that. That's controversial. It's the idea of, I do think you can just let the chief executive be the chief executive, and then you could vote him out, and like, that's the important part. You have to, because this guy says, oh, we no more elections after he wins. It's like, no, you could vote him out. I'm pretty sure Professor Vermeule, Adrian Vermeule, who is a real conservative, who I know on Twitter, and he's liked a lot of my stuff. Like, he replies, I guess anyone, he'll just, like your comment, saying that he's read it, which is great. He's from Harvard. It'd be a great question to ask him, like, because I do believe, like, it's good to have a chief executive who can enact the will of the people, but at the same time, it has to be, if he's no good, there's got to be a way to get rid of him pretty quickly. Because what we have now is not that. We have a bizarre mess of, which has come up on the show in the past with different stories I've tried to cover. Like the Kilmar-Abrego thing. That is a great example of why the chief executive kind of matters. How do I explain? So, part of the deal with the Kilmar thing is there's an idea that says the president should be allowed to disregard rigid procedure. I can understand not being able to disregard broad procedure, but the idea of the president being limited by these very rigid rules that are designed to protect everything, it seems it gets in the way of doing actual good things, which has been pointed out as a problem with liberalism. I fully agree with that. While understanding the other side is like, well, that protects the individual, but it's like, yeah, but at what point? And look, don't look at me, the right winger, which I'll get into with Mehdi Hasan, because this comes up in this debate later. This fucks over the left too. Because what it means is, and even he's friends with the Majority Report, and they're, I think, even more left-wing than he is, but they're not full-on, I called them that in an article, which I should probably retract. They're not communists, but if you're a left-winger, that is a problem. Like, the rigid procedurism, where you have to follow through every single one of these rules, yes, it protects the minority, yes, it protects the individual, but the common good gets eviscerated. And if you're a left-winger, that's how you end up with, the giant income inequality thing. That's how it happens. Those rigid procedures protect the rich. I'm pretty sure that's a point Lenin made. Which I think I said this in the past episode, maybe, but look, if I start repeating shit, I guess it's expected due to the nature of the program. But anyway, especially because I don't have another guy saying, hey, you already fucking said that. We're in the post-World War I era again. It seems that the past, the 1960s and then the 1980s, the 1980s economics, the 1960s social, cultural stuff has been like this giant, long, decades-long war that has successfully... It's like it has had the same effect that a real, actual war would have on a population. So now we've been fucked over, and I don't know where you put the end date of the war. I guess Trump winning again, that would be the end of the war, but now we're in this weird post-war period where now you're seeing, okay, what comes next? Are we going to go full socialist? Are we going to go, as a response to Trump winning again, are we going to go full nationalist? I don't know. But that's interesting. Again, we're right back in. Because I was trying to place, like, if we're in the post-World War I period again, what was World War I in this time period? And again, it seems to me, again, the Reaganomics and you could call it John Lennonism, the imagined shit, where you just eviscerate a culture to free everyone to live their lives the way they want to. Those two things, that and the Reaganomics, hey, dude, just go make a bunch of money, and don't think about anyone else, bro. Just focus on yourself. You combine those two, and you get like this decades-long war that seems to have now ended. Like, the work is done. So now we're in the post-war period. Now we're going to see what comes after. So Franco, I got to look into. This guy's a dick. This Connor guy. I was in a chat room with him. He didn't do anything to me, but he didn't say anything to me. It's a Catholic chat that I was just checking because some news dropped about. It's not even worth getting into. Some Catholic influencer news dropped, and this guy, was talking about it. I kind of see that is a weird coincidence. That's why I do kind of believe in God. It's like, oh, it's interesting that I was in a small chat, like a 200 people chat with this fucking guy, and then a week later, he's on this show. But, yeah, so I was in a chat with this guy. Nothing happened in it, though. I don't know. He's weird. He comes off as, I don't know, like quite nice. Surprisingly, I can believe it or not. He's well known in a part of the Catholic influencer community, like the more of the far right part of, Twitter, I guess. He seems to be beloved there for good reason. I tried to do a deep dive into this guy's Twitter, and he seems, I don't know, the point I want to make, it's 2 points. He's a dork. He doesn't know how to control himself. I don't know if it's autism, but he doesn't know, like, there's no social decorum. It's like if you were to give this guy advice, it's like, all right, you got to treat Mehdi Hasan, who maybe I'll close with this about Mehdi Hasan. Treat him nicely, even if you think he's a dick. And I do kind of think Mehdi Hasan is a bit of a dick. But no, he doesn't. And so he just acts like a dick. He's clearly getting off on, like, yeah, I'm a fucking fascist. What are you going to do about it? Like, there's nothing political there. That's personal. Like, he's just getting off on telling this famous journalist and commentator, like, yeah, I'm a fucking Nazi. What are you going to do about it? Yeah. And that's what a lot of people are responding to in a negative way, and that's good. That's good. You should respond to that negatively, because that's not someone trying to convince you of something. Mehdi's son, after the debate, and even during the debate, he was like, yeah, I don't debate fascists. And he's right. There is no point. Because that is someone who doesn't believe in free speech. And that might be the difference between authoritarianism and fascism, which the left will probably never say. But authoritarianism is more, all right, there's the family is authoritarian, which the left has talked about, and that's why they often don't like the family. But like a household is authoritarian. A school is authoritarian. There's a teacher and then the students. But the teacher, you can listen to the students. Fascist, you don't. There's no. It's the will. I mean, to quote Nietzsche and Nietzsche. Oh man, that's an old bit. Nietzsche. I said it in another episode. Nietzsche. I caught that. Nietzsche. Flashback. It's an old bit from me and a very close friend. Years ago. Nietzsche. The will. It also comes from Schopenhauer, the idea of the will, which picks up in Nazi writings. It's about the one will, one will gloriously follow. Like that. That's not conservative. It is authoritarian, just the worst version of it. It's I don't know. That's the thing with leftists and left liberals. Like, you gotta understand, there's a difference between like a monarchy and a fascist state and an authoritarian state. Like, there are these differences between all of them that do matter. They're gonna say, no, it doesn't fucking matter, you fucking anti-liberal piece of shit. And it's like, right, okay, I get you feel that way. It's fine, I get it. I get the heat. But there are differences, and they kind of matter. Well, they matter too, because I also don't like this guy. He, again, beyond just his politics and his views on things, he just, I don't know. I'll do my due diligence on this guy. I'll look into him more, because it's like, so far from what I've seen besides this clip, he's not an asshole to his in-group, but part of being a Christian, a Catholic, is you're nice to the out group too. You don't go on a YouTube show and like fucking have an orgasm saying like, yeah, I'm a fucking Nazi. Oh, I'm home alone right now, so I get to be a little louder than usual. Thank God, because I get to at least try to be a little more funny. I've recorded an episode I think 2 episodes ago. Outside, I probably couldn't make those noises there. So, yeah, don't do that. Don't have an orgasm while saying you're a Nazi. Oh, I'm a Nazi. Oh, yeah, Mehdi, you like that? Bad. Don't do that. So, there's that. Mehdi's son, the segment's not really about him. So maybe it's not worth getting into with him. Yeah, he's a left liberal. He's a bit of a dick. He will... Like, there's other moments in the video where he's being unnecessarily combative, which I guess is his job as a pure debater, but that's not... I don't know. I don't think it's really honest. Like, he'll talk over people, interrupt them, and, it's a good debate tactic. It's something Mike Priest recommended to me from Matt Walsh, of all people. He was like, when you're in a debate, you just rigidly stick to the point, which is what Mehdi did, but, I don't know, I guess is it a debate or I don't know, I guess a debate and a conversation are two different things. So like there'd be times where someone would go off topic, but Mehdi would try to bring it back on topic. But it's like a conversation would be better there to learn more about the other person's views. But I guess there's a difference. So I don't like debates. I fucking hate debates. To be honest, I hate debates. I really do. Conversations are much better. But I guess there is a place for a debate. Like honest to God debate, not like a debate / conversation, but like an official, like, all right, you say this, all right, you say that, all right. Like we're actually arguing for something versus just trying to find out how the other person thinks. I like that way more. I guess because I do, that's a little more journalistic. It's like, all right, what do you think? It's a bit more like drama, like you're really, you're trying to get in someone's head. So, yeah, Mehdi Hasan's a left liberal. He's really, if you want to know what the left liberal perspective is, and one of the key differences between that and the left, like full-on leftism, is the procedural stuff. They really do believe in the procedure of democracy and the republic and all that kind of stuff as a way to protect the rights of the individual and to keep everything running. Like, in that way, they're a little conservative, which is interesting. Which is, again, why a lot of leftists don't like them and why I kind of have an issue with them is, at some point, that proceduralism gets in the way of the common good. So it's the one thing Mussolini and Lenin, I'm sure, agreed on, or Lenin and Hitler and that kind of thing. So that's that topic, Speaking of left liberal, Colbert. Well, actually, Colbert's gone. Let me see if I actually did write notes for this. Let's see if I missed anything. So, let's see. I have notes on Colbert. Let's see what they are. Just if I miss anything interesting, I might not have. There was one point. I believe stuff like this is actually a good argument for censoring. I'm glad I read that. Well, there's 2 points. I as I explained before, I get this guy's primal rage. I would just love to know what makes him so angry. Like, what's your backstory, dude? Like, what happened to you that made you like this? To quote Salvatore Moroni of The Dark Knight, like this. So, yeah, I gotta wonder. And it's like, you know what? For this guy's own good, I'd love to censor him. Like it's funny how people don't point that out. It's like, censoring these Nazis would be good for them. You get them to not be an idiot. Like, hey, dude, shut the fuck up. That's dumb. And for your own good, stop saying dumb and evil things. You'll get over it. Just wait a few days. Don't. I'm like 50% on your side, and I'm telling you this is dumb. So shut the fuck up. We're gonna make you shut the fuck up by silencing you for now. Give it 7 days, and think about what you did, and it'll come back. And then we'll do our thing. It's what Buckley called. He called it. He said he was an and Mike. I get this from Michael Knowles, who's talked about this. I'm what is it? An epistemological. Oh God. Epistemological. I'm not even gonna look that up. Fuck it. I think it's funny if you leave it in like that. Epistemological. I got it. Got it. Epistemological. I'm an epistemological optimist, which means I think I know things. Liberals hate that because they think, oh, how could... And I was watching the episode of Majority Report about this, and they were making fun of the idea of like, how would you know if there's a benevolent dictator or whatever? And it's like, well, you could know. You could just have a really good guy who that's what the president is or is supposed to be. It's someone who you go, all right, you go be the president, you go lead, and same thing with a general. It's like, all right, you go lead. Which I guess, like the general thing especially, liberals have a problem because, we're not the military. But it's like, well, okay. Again, that's just the anti-hierarchical, which can be justified in many ways, position of liberals and the left. I mean, even the historical French Revolution left, they just did not like hierarchy. For, again, reasons I understand. But, I'm not that. I think we all know. And look, this guy agrees. The leftists clearly agree that we can know things. I guess it's another difference between a liberal and a leftist. The leftist will also say, yeah, I know what's good and what's wrong. And a liberal will say, yeah, but do we really know? And it's like the leftists will go, yeah, no, we know what's right and wrong. But usually their definition of right and wrong is anytime you say anything is right or wrong. It's like, it's very strange. Interesting relationship between those two ideologies. But I think you could know. I think you know what good and evil is. So like, I wouldn't mind putting power. And again, like we already do this. We give power to someone, and they go do things for the benefit of ourselves. Buckley. That's that means epistemological optimist. And part of that is like I believing in sort of a closed society, which includes closing off the public forum to Nazis. Buckley would say, I don't really see the point in giving Nazis a public platform, so we shouldn't. And the liberal will go, yeah, how do you know that? Like, and libertarians do this too because they have the classical liberal thing. Well, how do you know what's good and bad? It's like, because you know what's good and bad, and this is clearly bad. It's weird. Connor, that's his name, he's acting weird. He's got to go. We're not going to kill him. He thinks we're going to kill him, but we're not. Maybe some of the leftists want to kill them. I mean, I've seen some of that. That's pretty ugly. They're like, I don't want to share a society with people like him. We got to unalive him. And it's like, well, okay, but... So you're not going to do that. I also don't believe in that kind of speech. Like, we're not going to do that either. That's also closed off to the public square. You'll be banned for that. But, don't fuck around with the, like, but how do you know that's bad? I'm a speech absolutist. I was kind of getting angry yesterday at Nick Fuentes. So Musk let him back on Twitter because he's a free speech absolutist. Don't do that. Stupid. Just don't. Because you also make the public like you're almost. This is what the Catholic Church calls scandal, where you're scandalizing the public, and you're aggravating the public with your insane beliefs. So that's also what has to be watched out for. Like that's why it's part of, I guess, Catholic theology regarding sin, which is the person who leads the other person to the sin, that person also bears responsibility. And so Connor led someone else into saying, I'm going to fucking kill you for saying that. Connor was aggravating the public by doing that. So that's why you gotta take out the Connors from the public space. You can go say that in like your 4chan boardrooms, but not in public. Because you're pissing people off, they're getting mad, and they themselves are falling into sin by you activating their rage. So, yeah, I'm glad I got that out. Speaking of left liberal, Stephen Colbert, a former hero of mine. I mean, almost still a current hero of mine. You know, he's still fun to watch. A lot of conservatives will not admit that, but he is. I grew up with him, so I didn't grow up with him. I watched him a lot from 2016 to 2019. And I graduated college and just kind of stopped watching him. I would watch him when eating food. Apparently there's a subreddit about that, like of videos about you watch when you're eating food. I've always done that. Big fan of doing that. Eating and watching something. I do that with Colbert a lot. Him, Seth Meyers. Kimmel, not really. Fallon, never. No offense to Fallon. Because I like the politics. Fallon never really did politics too much. He just kind of like was the funny. Well, people found him annoying, but he just kind of focused on celebrities. Colbert would do politics, though. Seth Meyers would as well. That's who the political... I mean, look, and I'll be honest, I did even back then, I remember thinking, well, why do I like Colbert? Why do I trust him? Why am I a left liberal? And it's like, well, I like Colbert, and he's a left liberal, so that's why I have his views. Because I would have that honest thought sometimes, like, well, how do I know what I'm thinking is right? And I would lean in and like, oh, well, I trust Colbert. A lot of politics works that way, where it's just based on trust, which can be good and bad. I mean, I've said this before, the reason why the social conservative thing is so important and why the left, the DNC has to reach out to social conservatives. There's so many social conservatives vote for Republicans because they trust the Republicans more. They don't trust the Democrats. There's an amazing article that someone in Oklahoma wrote when they lost their Senate race. They wrote an article about how, these people, they think we're trying to foist modernity on them. And a lot of left liberals go, well, yeah, modernity is really good. Why wouldn't we? And it's like, right, that's why you lose these people. If you stop doing that, they might vote for you. But that's why I trusted, Colbert. He's fired. I didn't think I said that yet. He's fired. Or not fired. They're treating it like he's been fired. The show's been canceled. Because as I've been complaining about every episode, there was even an article in the Hollywood Reporter about it, about how AI is changing things, and it's not that great. Hollywood's getting fucked in the ass, and that includes the late shows, because if there's no shows and movies to promote that people are watching, no one's going to tune into the shows anyway. There's YouTube, there's TikTok, there's all this shit. So, Colbert is out. Again, he's not fired. They're not replacing him. The show's over because Hollywood's over. And it's shame. And then the left is the liberals, rather, the libs. They're not the same thing as I've said. The libs and the left. The libs are, I don't know. They're acting like he's been fired for his edgy critiques of the president. It's like, not really. I mean, I don't know. No. It's very narcissistic to think that. Like, really? Like, it can't... Look, people have been making that point, including Aaron McIntyre, super conservative, the Blaze guy, super nationalist, who I'll get into, I think, in another show. it'd be fun to break down these internet personalities and kind of get into what makes them tick and who they are and what they believe. He was doing a show today, which I was watching, which is very good. The show, and he was like, his guest was like, his name is Wade Stott, the guest. Like, do they ever like think, like, maybe it's me who sucks? Maybe it's just no one's watching because I've alienated half the country, and it makes sense that when you alienate half the country, you're losing half the audience just automatically. They're just not going to watch your shit. Like, it's super narcissistic to think, like, oh, I'm not the one who's wrong. They're the morons. And, again, part of why I voted for Trump is, like, yeah, fuck you. No, we're not doing that. No, thanks. And clearly my side won, because it's like, yeah, you guys... Be different if you didn't... If you guys won, then things would be different. It's like, all right, fine, I'm not that popular. All right, fine, I'll shut up. But... it worked the other way around. It's like, all right, our idea's won, your idea's lost. Maybe you shut up for a little bit. Just a little bit. We're not going to put you in camps. I know Connor wants to put you in a camp. I don't want to put you in a camp. Most people don't want to put you in camps. But just quiet. A little humility, I think, would go a long way. That's why that angle... It's just so weird. It's like I watched that South Park episode they put out last night. It's fucking amazing. Even the first 5 minutes, it's everything that's this moment right now. It's everything. Like, it's just so impressive. Like, they really sum up the past 2 years. I guess because their last show was 2 years ago. They really sum up the vibe shift. 5 minutes, they sum it up. It's fucking amazing. So impressive. That sounds sarcastic. So impressive. No, it really is. Like that show, they really... If you were to do a history of Hollywood, you got to talk about those animated comedy shows, because that is a part of Hollywood. You have to talk about those guys the same way you talk about, like, the film classics I studied. Like Billy Wilder, Howard Hawks, Lubitsch. He's a comedy director from like the 30s. Woody Allen. So even Kubrick, which Kubrick does have a big influence on South Park. Especially Clockwork Orange. They've admitted to being very influenced by that. Dr. Strangelove, obviously. Which is interesting. I mean, this is film talk, but Kubrick isn't known as a comedian. Really, it's not as... In the cultural lexicon, he's known more for The Shining and 2001, but, even Barry Lyndon's... He said it's not a comedy. I think it is. Especially because if it's not a comedy, then it's just not as good of a movie. But if you look at Barry Lyndon as a comedy, then it just gets a lot better. So... that's Colbert. Let me see if there's anything else from that I wrote down. Colbert. Yeah, it makes, I wrote that, if this makes me happy, yeah, it makes me happy. Like, I'm glad you're learning how unpopular you are. Which I think I said a few episodes ago. It's like, yeah, it's good. I'm glad you gotta come back and readjust. So that's kind of that. So 2 more stories. The Epstein stuff. It's kind of died down this week. We'll see where it goes. But last week, MAGA even 2 weeks ago, I think, MAGA was in total rebellion over the Epstein files. Trump was acting surprised. He shouldn't be surprised. Because he ran... I mean, part of the appeal of Trump was this, like, anti-establishment thing. I haven't seen him address it, so let's see... I'm thirsty and I don't want to stop.
talking. Let's see what he said directly. Let's go to the horse's mouth. Epstein to Donald. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah. Here's Epstein talking about Trump.
I've always been.
No, it's an advertisement. Let's see what the man himself. I've never heard Epstein speak, so this is the first. I saw this. This is the first time I've ever seen him speak. Let's look.
And it's going viral today.
Oh God.
Accusing him of.
In the presence of.
He was asked directly.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Epstein pauses, shakes his head, then answers.
No, I'd like to answer that question, at least today. I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights.
The deposition has resurfaced as the backlash.
So, yeah, the Fifth Amendment's funny because when you invoke it, I don't know. It's usually treated as like an admitted, like, oh yeah, you did the thing. I don't know. That's an interesting legal thing. Like, why? What is that Fifth Amendment? It's there so you don't incriminate yourself, but I guess because if he says yes, I was with Donald and in the presence of underage girls. I guess it because he doesn't want to lie, but it's like, okay, what's the lie you don't want to? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. What's the lie you don't want to say? That you were with them or you weren't with them. So if I don't know, see, oh God, it kind of makes my head spin. The lie. I guess so if he says, no, I was not with Donald with these girls, he's afraid that, I'm going to be in trouble. But if he's, that's why it's weird. It's like, well, if you say yes, then a bunch of things are going to happen now because you're under oath. Isn't under oath... See, I wish I had another guy doing this. Then he could just look this up for me. And the mystery is tantalizing. I think under oath... Can you... Can you invoke the fifth while under oath? Let's see. Can you invoke the fifth under oath? Because there's this thing where they can compel you to take they can compel you. I feel like I read this. They can compel you because they were trying to do the same thing with which I don't even give a shit about. The health issues that Biden was having. There's a thing you can do where you can't invoke the fifth anymore. And so they make you tell the truth. I think it's somewhat effective where, because Ben Shapiro was talking about this, where he said, they have to say, we're not going to prosecute you for any of this. So just fucking say the thing we're asking you. Answer the question. You won't be prosecuted for anything you're about to say. That's when you can remove their ability to invoke the fifth. So, that clip is kind of like Epstein saying, he was in my presence with these girls, but, I don't want to start a shitstorm, so I'm invoking the right to plead the fifth. I wonder, where the fuck was that video the past 8 years, 10 years? Is it just released now? The reason the story matters, Trump won as the anti-swamp, let's change shit candidate, which in 2016, which again, I still gotta, oh man, it's harder work than I thought. I was trying to do it, alright, so fun fact, I'm recording, everything you've just heard is a day after the intro recorded. Little little look into how the sausage is made. But it's harder than I thought to just go off for an hour and riff without having anything written. Fun, a little bit, tiny little bit, but it's going to be better to write out what I want to say about the 2016 election. Because it's funny, I am kind of doing my job as a school teacher by doing that. It's like a lesson plan. That's what that is. So, I have to write that out. But and I think I've talked. I don't know if I talked about this dynamic because it's super interesting in this election. Is so much of the dynamics that were in play in the Rust Belt in 2016 that became the norm in 2024. I think I might have said this last episode, but the pithy one-liner I have is we're all Appalachian now. All the social, cultural, and economic things that you saw in not Iowa either. Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa? Wait. Pennsylvania. And in Iowa, Ohio count, but Ohio's more red now. Anyway, so I don't know if I guess you could count them as the Rust. I mean, it is in the Rust Belt. But those 4 states, that part of the country, the forces that were at work 8 years ago, now they're everywhere. And part of that feeling is a sort of, all right, let's just fucking throw a brick wall through the establishment. Because I never got, even my when I think back to 2016, I can't relate to that. I can't relate to that feeling of I want to smash the system and break everything. And now again, I was younger at the time. I was 20 or I was 19. So I had my whole life ahead of me. So that's what's interesting. It's like when you can get older and just shit doesn't work out. Maybe it'll work out later, but right now it hasn't worked out. So that pushes, I guess, that pushes you to Trumpism. Because you don't give a shit anymore. It's like, well, he said he grabs him by the pussy. Like, dude, I don't care. But that's bad. I don't care. Shut up. I don't care. Don't care. Well, that's evil. I know you think it's evil. Okay, whatever. Well, I'm bad. What are you gonna do? Okay. What are you gonna do? You got anything else to say? You're bad. You're gonna go to hell. Okay. So there's that nihilism at play. Again, that was only in these 3 states that I just didn't relate to at 19. I wanted to be a screenwriter. I still do. It's very different now, but I don't know where it's going, as I've said before. But back then, I was like, I was a liberal capitalist. I was going to make money as an entertainer in Hollywood with the entertainment complex, an institution. So then 8 years later, it's like, yeah, this doesn't work out. Fuck it, let's just break it. And part of breaking was like, yeah, fuck it, maybe they are all molesting kids, these rich politicians. So part of why Trump won, long way of saying, is the Epstein list. That's why there are many fascinating differences between Trump and the rest of the GOP. There is. That might be the starkest difference, is the Epstein stuff. That he ever even played to that crowd. That's one of the most stark differences that I can think of that are immediate, that, like, Mitt Romney would have never run on that. John McCain, never. It'd be like running on Building 7 with the JFK thing or whatever. Like, you're running on a conspiracy theory. And McCain, Bush 1 and 2, never would have done that. Never. No, never done it. That's interesting. But at the same time, it's like, look, I don't know, I love the quote, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So, like, when you screw your base out of that, they're not going to just go away like, okay, I guess there's no Epstein list. Some of them will, the morons, and there are out there. The worst account on Twitter is Gunther Eagleman. Maybe it's sinful to speak ill of people so bluntly. Lord forgive me, the guy's a moron. He's the worst account on Twitter. No thought into anything he says. He's just sucking Trump's dick. Just is. I know, a Catholic, but he's just sucking cock. Just not an original thought in that guy's fucking head. It's so classic grifter. I don't know if he's Dave Rubin's actually kind of similar. Another dork. There's one other guy too that sucks like that. Oh my God, Benny Johnson. Total cocksucker. Of the literal, I'm not even, because usually cocksucker, it's like you're an asshole or you're a piece of shit. No, he's just a cocksucker. He's just sucking pee-pee. He's sucking Donald's pee-pee just remorselessly. Yeah, Donald, yay! Oh, the other way I put it, like Dave Rubin, Gunther Eagleman, you know, and who's the other? Dave Rubin, Gunther Eagleman, and Benny Johnson. They're like the bullies in the high school movie where it's like, yeah, Donald, like, hey, you're a bitch. yeah, man. Yeah, he is a bitch. Yeah. They're like the Tuco's goons that he kills both of them in Breaking Bad. Same thing. Just total sycophants. I don't know if it's worse if they're grifters or if they really are actually that fucking stupid. I guess grifting's worse because that is like, at least with stupidity, you can respect it, but you can at least go, all right, well, it's not your fault that you have no brain. But if you're a grifter, it's like, oh God, you're gross. But at the same token, it's like, all right, at least you're smart enough to know this is wrong. So there's like the hope of talking you out of it. Not this guy. These guys are, I don't know. If you're that stupid, I can't talk you out of it. You're just fucking dumb. And I can't talk you out of being a fucking moron. So that's my rant on. But that's a small part of the base. Everyone else is like, yeah, bro, where's the fucking files? And I am proud to say that a lot of them are like, yeah, no, if Trump's really in those files, we're done. Which will be huge for next election in 2028. This could sink Vance's candidacy. If Trump doesn't, I kind of suspect Trump's going to try and run anyway, but it won't matter if his base thinks he's a pedophile. He's done. They're gonna hope that the base just forgets about this. But look, if you're a Democrat, don't let him. Don't let him off the hook. Just fucking ram it through. You know, maybe that backfires and you do get the MAGA base to go, yeah, you're right. The Democrats are trying to use that to screw over the dear leader. Look, could happen. I don't know. Because look, we're up against the news cycle. This 24-hour news cycle that people just, stories, they last about a week. Maximum 2 weeks. So, I don't know, man. It kind of gets back into like the theme from last week or the last episode, which was nothing ever happens. But that's part of why. It's like, well, yeah, if you forget everything after 2 weeks, that's why. Nothing, I guess, ever happens. Because it's like Memento. I didn't realize that is a good metaphor. It's exactly like we all have the syndrome that the guy in Memento had. Which was, just you live your life and you forget it 5 minutes later. That's part of what is behind the nothing ever happens meme. So I don't know. That's Epstein. That's that. Well, it's gonna be interesting. So far, the base not liking it. We'll see where that goes. Last story. I'm already a little tall. I can't imagine a fucking Ben Shapiro and Knowles and all these guys do it. Especially alone. Like, blah, 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 blah. My mouth hurts. But I wanted to be productive today. So I decided to record the show. Let's see. The last story was Joel Berry being a psycho. Well, I like Joel Berry. He's retweeted some of my stuff, like once he retweeted one thing of mine, and he's liked some of my comments. He is a good guy. But he's very boomer Republican in this way, where he's a psycho to the Arab world. So that's unfortunate. How do I explain this quickly? Because again, my mouth is tired. He defended Israel but bombing a Catholic church accidentally. He defended that by saying the problem is all the Catholics left in Gaza are all fans of Hamas, and the internet just fucking shit on him. Which is a good thing, because that's a psychotic take, dude. It's bad. Oh man, am I gonna punt on this? My mouth is already tired. Maybe I'll talk about this more next episode, maybe. Because it might not be relevant then. I don't know, we'll see. Because it was so... This guy was getting dragged. The reason it matters is the right has hit its limit with Israel. I will say that. That's why it matters. And I guess it's relevant because, again, you're seeing the right move in a different place than it was in like 2008, 2012, even 2016. And it does get into whether Trump is a validation of the 1980, 2016 party, or if it's a rejection of it. Or is it both to some degree? That's the answer. It is both to some degree. But, maybe more next time we'll get into that tweet. And see where the right has evolved, if the right moves back to Israel, which is, I don't think that's going to happen at all. So, we'll see. I feel like leaving it there. This is my fucking show. What are you going to do? I can do whatever I want. The music's already playing. You hear it? It's Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. I hope I don't get copy struck. I hope I don't blow my brains out for using Led Zeppelin's amazing music. That's all I got for the show today. I'll be back. Maybe the music starts now. I don't know. Next episode, whenever. There was just a lot of news this week, so I did it sooner than expected. And I wanted to be productive. I'm trying to do the show more often, just again to be productive. I do take this seriously as like an exercise in journalism. So, fuck it. Let me be productive and do this thing. Next episode's whenever, though. Again, maybe sooner rather than later. Maybe not as topical. Maybe more just a deep dive into some of the accounts that I think are most interesting on Twitter that represent where we are currently, politically. Even if it's covering Hasan Piker, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, that's all I got. Until I talk to you next, have a great whatever time it is, wherever you are. So, on that note, hope you're back soon. Have a great day, night, or whatever. Bye-bye.